Hi guys, welcome to the channel again. So this time we have RTX 2060 from Gigabyte, exactly the same model we had in previous videos. So nothing new, but this one is actually interesting. So I bought it on the auction and the description indicated that it may be a memory related issue, and I did test it when it arrived like 3 weeks ago. And what I then saw was actually, so the card was starting as stated in the video, sorry, in the advert, but I couldn't. Well, I get into Windows, but I think I had error 43, and now it's not. So I installed the drivers, refreshed everything. There's no error, but I will show you in a moment. When I run the Valley benchmark, it will crash. But what I did 3 weeks ago, I did run the memory test, and as you can see, it says the memory bank C0 is actually faulty. So it may indicate two things. Either this memory chip is actually faulty, or it might be that the connection under the GPU to that chip is broken, which is probably less optimistic case, because then it will need most likely the GPU reballing, which I'm not very good at. So let's see what happens. So right now, when I did try to run the memory test today like 2 or 3 times, and it's giving me a pass. So it's good that I saved this one, because at least I have some kind of clue what could be the problem. But as I said, it's not necessarily a memory chip that's faulty. And to prove that it's not working perfectly, even though it seems like it is, let's run Valley benchmark, and let's run it for a second. I did run it off camera already, so it basically runs for a moment and then weird stuff happens. So like the screen goes black, or you can see those like light artifacts, and then it crashes. So it's gonna take like 30 seconds, I would say. Or maybe in the video oh, there we go. Oh, it goes black, and then it resumes again, and then it goes black again. It's blinking, and finally it will crash. Oh, and we get some errors. Okay, so I'll disassemble the card, and well, I'll start with replacing the memory chip. If it helps, great. If it doesn't, then we'll think about reballing the GPU. Alright, so I have a card disassembled here, and it's on the preheater. So I'll use the hint I got from the memory testing software that it's chip C0, what we saw in the previous part. And so how you know which one is which? So here you have an arrow on the chip, so you go diagonal, so you go here and start counting from here. So this is bank A, B, C and D, and the numbering is A1, it's good because you start from this corner, so the opposite to the arrow. A1, A0, B1, B0, C1, C0, so that's our chip we want to remove, D1, D0. So this is the chip we want to remove. I don't know, obviously there's something wrong with the card. So anyway, let's try with the memory chip. And to replace it, there are two options actually. So I could take a memory chip from a donor, but it requires reballing of the chip. So you have to remove it, clean it completely, remove all the original solder and then put the new solder balls on the chip. I'm not going to do it today because I don't have donor parts, or at least I would need to look for them, so I need to decide which cards I want to sacrifice and which ones I want to try and fix in the future. But luckily I have one of those chips here. You cannot probably see it well, but it's a Samsung GDDR6 memory chip, exactly the same model as this one here. That's the last one I have here in this packaging. So I'll simply remove this chip. I will show you how I remove it. Will show you how I clean the pads here, how I prepare everything for soldering the new chip, and I'll put the new one instead of this one, and we'll see if the card works. And here on the side I set the 300 Celsius, 300 degrees Celsius, so actually it reached the temperature already, but of course it doesn't mean there will be 300 Celsius on the board itself, otherwise all the components would just, you know, desolder itself and I could just like grab them one by one. It's not the case here. I have a thermometer here, not sure if you could see it, but if I point at our chip, we have around 162 degrees, so it's actually quite well, because then I can use the hot air from the top and desolder. Can you see it? Let me point it. Around 160, 150. Closer to the core it should be warmer. No, actually it isn't. So anyway, that will help me a lot, because this is original solder from the factory, so it's not leaded solder, and the melting temperature of this solder is actually higher, around 220 degrees. So this is a good start to have some preheating from the bottom, and then I'll apply some more heat and remove the memory chip. So I will show you how I do it, and we will test the card later. The memory chip is soldered in place. Here looks okay. I cleaned the card. Let's measure together if there is no shorts. Let's check, most important, the memory resistance, and that's 26 ohms. I think it's fine. The card is still a bit warm and it's Samsung memory. I think it's perfectly okay. 12 volts from the slot, mega ohms, 3.3, no short, pegs, come on, 10 ohms, 1.8, it's fine, 5 volts, fine, and 12 volts from PCI Express connector, yeah, it's fine as well. So yeah, I'll assemble the card and we'll test it. The card is in the test bench. Let's see if it gives a picture, and if it does, I will first run the memory test before booting into Windows. Well, the memory test is not very reliable, seems like, in this case at least. I didn't have any problems with it before, but looking now, I would say, 3 weeks ago it actually identified the error on the memory. Maybe the memory, the amount of memory tested needs to be bigger, because now today it didn't show any errors. I tried a few times, so that's strange. But anyway, let's do it just to be, well, kind of sure it's okay. Let's press the power button and let me choose the boot device, if it gives a picture, and it does. F12, and we can choose the flash drive. Okay, run the memory test, make it sharp for you. Yeah, super exciting, but luckily it's quite quick, so I guess we can do that. Looking good so far. I don't see any artifacts on the screen. And it's a pass. And it's switching off, so we have to turn it on again. This time it will boot straight to Windows. Oh, skip. Alright, so we are in Windows. Let's see the device manager. And focus, graphics cards, and there's no exclamation mark. Seems like it's working. Well, it was before as well, but it was crashing, so we'll check that in a moment. And let's see GPU Z as well. Yeah. And we have our RTX 2060, 6 GB of RAM, everything looks legit. So yeah, now it's time for testing. See you. After running Heaven benchmark for half an hour, the temperatures are fully stabilized now. So the GPU temperature is 72 degrees, hotspot 88, not great, but I think it's, I mean, I'm sure it's typical. Looking at the previous cards like this I fixed, it's typical operating temperature for this model, for this cooling. I guess it's all fine. Alright, so the card has been running Valley for over 3 hours. Everything is fully stable, no artifacts, no black screen, no glitches, nothing. Everything is perfectly stable. And well, so turns out it was the memory chip, just it. Really wasn't sure, to be honest, because the symptoms were not typical, I would say. Usually it's error 43 in Windows, so the card has the exclamation mark in device manager, and also I would expect artifacts in Windows even, or even at the BIOS screen with like green squares and artifacts like this, so more geometric artifacts, I would say. But yeah, it was partially working, let's say, so the chip was faulty but not like critical, so it was kind of okay. Yeah, so that's good, because to be honest, I should have, after removing the chip, I should have checked if there is a connection to the GPU with the multimeter. But well, I had the board on the preheater and it was hot, ready to solder new memory chip, so I thought it will be faster. So I took a small risk here, but yeah, it was worth it and it works. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button, comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.